Alright guys, here's the review of the BK&T Becker and Tool K-Bar made Bk-9 Combat Bowie. Comes in the standard Becker box, looks a lot like this. All their knives come in this box. When you open it, you get the knife in the sheath like this, and you get a pan foot on just a whole bunch of, I guess the year you buy it in the K-Bar knives for that year. I kind of wish they had a manual. I like, not because I need to know how to use a knife, but just I like to read up on statistics, facts, care, recommendations, things like that. It's always nice to have. Um, so that's cool. Nice box. It's always good to have a nice box to take pride in your product that you purchased. Comes out. Initial impression. It's a huge knife, 9 inch, 14 inches long total. So it's big. Definitely not. I wouldn't say this is the kind of knife you'd want to have on your belt. It's definitely a pack knife, which is why I have it. To keep in your pack, break it out when you're at camp, and use it for some utility things. So let's take the knife out. It's got a retention is a nylon strap with a button. Knife slides out. There it is. And then when you buy either this model, the Bk-9 or the Bk-7, which is a 7-inch blade model, also an excellent knife. It comes with this Bk-13. I kind of modified it, wrapped it with hemp. I'll talk about that later. But it's a little mini. It's like a 2.5-inch blade, full flat grind, really cool knife. It's a freebie. I'll talk about that later. Go right to the sheath. It's a Polyvex nylon, really strong nylon, battle tested. For the knives, it's got Kydex inserts with no retention. The retention lies solely on the snap for the Bk-9 and the Velcro strap for the Bk-13. There is actually a Kydex insert for the Bk-13. From online pictures, I thought that the Bk-13, they just kind of slid it in this front pouch. Not true. There's actually another Kydex insert in there. The Bk-13 does kind of retain with its insert, but you still want to throw that strap on. The front pouch here has an outside elastic band, which is used to retain stuff you'd put in there. Read on the K-Bar website that it was kind of made for military use for an extra magazine, but definitely see putting in some survival supplies, magnesium bar, whetstone, anything like that, some paracord. Attachment methods, you've got 2 holes down here for leg straps, 2 holes up top that only go through to the first layer of the belt buckle, not to the back. You've got a large belt buckle up top and 2 vertical buckle loops here. Again, there's not many means of attachment because it's not really, I don't think it's meant to be worn on you for long periods of time. I just don't think that's what this knife is for. Definitely the BK2 is, definitely, with its full Kydex sheath. So if you're looking to, grab a knife that you're just going to hike with all day, you should look at the BK2, possibly the BK7, which is exact same sheath as this, but 7 inches. So this is definitely a pack knife. So sheath's alright. I definitely wouldn't even want to see a full Kydex sheath for a knife this big. So good job on the sheath. Couldn't really ask for much better. Maybe a little better looking, that's about it. But great sheath. Retention works fine. If you're worried about that insert not retaining, there's a method where you can kind of break it. It's glued in there. You can kind of break the glue, pull it out, stick your knife in, and use a heat gun and melt it to form the knife. Let it cool, stick it back in, glue it, and then it'll kind of grab the knife really well. That's kind of a method I heard about that works pretty well. So that's the sheath. Let's roll to the blade itself. The Bk-9. Bk-9, 9-inch blade, 14 3/4 long total. It's got these Grive handles. They're removable, standard Allen key in case you get anything in there. And then Becker K-Bar also sells a different material handle, which is like a brownish gray. Looks really cool. They're like $50 though, from K-Bar directly. So I was thinking about getting them, but because of how they look, I'm not sure what the advantages are material-wise, but I'm not spending $50 on some handle materials. I've heard, since it's just such an easy attachment method, since it's just a nut instead of screwing directly into the tang, it's a nut on the other side. I've heard of people carving their own handles and using a wipe-on poly to seal it out of wood. Pretty cool idea. 1/4 inch thick makes it awesome for hacking. It's got this kind of bellied flat grind, 20-degree edge. I wish it was a 25, maybe 30, to get a better, edge retention. That's kind of a fine edge for a work knife like this. You can definitely see why it's called a combat utility with this cutout swedge here, which is going to make you stab in a lot easier. It goes from like a 1/4 inch thick down to like a 1/16. Not so great for when you're batoning, but it works fine. When you're batoning, you're hitting this, it kind of digs into your baton a decent amount because of how thin that is. It's not sharp, but yeah. Great jimping. You're not going anywhere. This little pummel on the bottom that comes out makes it, because this is not the grippiest material, but you're definitely not going to let go of this. Big lanyard hole, exposed pummel, impact weapon or hammer. Great. Big guard. You're not going to slip in a stabbing motions. Nice grind on it. It's got an epoxy black coating for it because it's a 1095 Covan steel. So you gotta make sure you keep it kind of well oiled, especially when you're batoning. So great knife. It's like a pound. It's just over a pound. It's like, I think it was 18 and 0.25 ounces, something like that. 18 ounces. So it's a hefty knife. You really get a big swing out of it. 9-inch blade. Great for batoning. Comes razor sharp. I cut my thumb on it accidentally when I was pulling out of the sheath. I didn't feel any pain. That's how sharp it was. I just noticed I was bleeding. It made such a fine cut, and it healed like the next day because it was so thin. So really sharp, excellent knife. Definitely, if you're looking for a heavy utility knife, need to get the job done, definitely pick up the Bk-9. If not, start looking at the Bk-7 or the companion, the Bk-2. So great knife, Bk-9. Now let's talk about real quick the freebie knife that comes with it, Bk-13. It looks like it's stamped and then it's ground. It does have a full flat grind, which is pretty impressive. Really thick. It's almost a 1/4 inch thick with a full flat grind to a 20-degree edge. The Bk-9 also has a 20-degree edge, so they're kind of paired up. Size comparison's pretty crazy, but great little knife. It also comes razor sharp, and I even sharpened it even more to make sure I have one knife that's completely ridiculously sharp, dangerously sharp. Stamped on it, looks like a laser engraving, Bk-13, made in China. The Bk-9 is USA made, stamped on there. This one says K-bar on this side. It's got a hole there and 2 holes at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of a frame stamped. I wrapped it in hemp. The reason I wrapped it in hemp is because I can use this as a spear point, and the hemp is great for lashing because after you wrap it and you dip it in water, when hemp gets wet, it tightens down, the fibers tighten down, and gets even tighter. So hemp is great for lashing survival situations, and this is a great knife to make a spear point. That's the reason I put hemp on there as the grip instead of a paracord. So really cool knife. I like that Becker kind of threw this in here. I don't think it came with the camless knife, if I'm not mistaken, but the reason I think he threw this in here, a lot of people say, oh, freebie knife, cool, throw it in my room and I'll take the Bk-9 out. But me, I'm definitely going to keep these knives together. The reason is, I think he kind of paired these two up because you got this big knife. It kind of broadens your horizons as far as large tasks goes, but then you can't really get intricate things done. Small carving, notching for maybe snares or anything like that. Small tasks you have to get done. Also, when you're out there hacking on your survival knife, when you need it to be razor sharp, it tends to get dull. So it's nice to always have a knife that's razor sharp with that full flat grind. So definitely keeping these two together as an inseparable pair. So overall, easily 9 out of 10 on the whole package together. So great knife, the Becker Bk-9.